At the Russian Grand Prix, there was another surprise in women's skating. The students of Ettore Tutberidze and Yevgeny Plashenko did not even make it into the prizes. Even in the season before last, no one would have believed that Sofia Akateva and Sofia Muravyova would completely lose to their rivals with a regular set of triples. But now it is reality. If Muravyova's problems began a year ago, then for Akateva this situation is a drama. Sofia won the Russian Championships in December 2022 with triple axels and 2 quadruple toe loops, and it seemed that she was the main favorite for the 2026 Olympics if our team is allowed there. But then, a stress fracture of the foot, a long recovery, and a missed season. Akateva still returned, but so far it is very difficult for her. At the debut stage of the Russian Grand Prix, Sofia messed up her cascade in the short program and made a lot of mistakes in the free program, although she managed to finish in the podium. In St. Petersburg, the short program was better, but the free program fell apart. A fall on a quadruple toe loop, a butterfly on the Lutz, and an under-rotation on the quarter loop in the cascade. 128.13 points for the program dropped Akateva to 5th place. Of course, Sofia was very upset. Mikhail Kaliata and Anna Sherbakova, who commented on the competition, also reacted very vividly to the failures. It seemed that she was too careful on the first quadruple and simply did not have enough power. But she got into it. This did not happen last time, so progress is being made. In the second half of the program, it seemed to me that there was a little lack of strength. Maybe she was somehow emotionally lacking. She clearly had doubts on the track. But she fought to the end. It was clear how she was upset at the moment, but she gathered her will into a fist and did everything further. Here is the analysis of the performance from Sherbakova on the air. Coming back after a long break and injury is very difficult. And growing up clearly does not help. The body is constantly changing. Akateva and Muravyova could not. But we have a new contender for leadership with Ultra SI. Alina Gorbacheva won the first Grand Prix stage in her career. Finally, she got a quadruple Salchow. In Krasnoyarsk there was a step out, but now it is clean. Well, and then there was enough positive energy for the whole program. A great performance with high GOE, almost 91 points for technique. Gorbacheva has been jumping Salchow for a long time, but other Ultra SI are not yet coming, although Alina is learning a triple axel and a quadruple Lutz. However, for now, the Salchow is enough. Alina is already aiming for gold at the Russian Championships. Tomorrow I will have a day off. I need to take a breather. I will prepare for the Russian Championships with renewed vigor. I will unquestioningly follow the coach's opinions in order to approach the championships in the best shape. Of course, I want to win the championships. I will strive for this. There is an unusual new reality in women's skating in Russia today. Athletes with triples easily get onto the podium. And it's not even that they can't do Ultra SI, they just don't do them. Svetlana Sokolovskaya's student Sofia Vaznova took her first medal in the senior category, her most difficult element being a cascade of a triple Lutz, double axel, and double toe loop. Veronika Yamatova is again in second place, by the way, for the 5th time in a row. And even though she doesn't have quads, her main strength, which is probably the most important thing now, is consistency. And a minimum of mistakes. And this is not an exception, but a rule. 2 victorious stages for 18-year-old Anna Frolova without quadruples only confirm this. Another unusual thing is that the dominance of Tutberidze students seems to have come to an end. A decline was already looming last season, now it is more noticeable. Yes, there is Adelia Petrosyan, but she does not skate without breakdowns. And then, the unstable Sadkova and Akateva with many problems. And Tutberidze herself is still not at the Grand Prix, at least something does not change. Why do figure skaters cry? In principle, women's single skating is inseparable from this struggle. During her career, the average figure skater goes through several stages, in each of which she is able to achieve high results using different methods. Until the conditional mark of 15 years, athletes are considered jumpers due to their minimal body weight and reserve of childish energy. Difficult elements such as multi-turn jumps are easier for them. And whole runs of programs during training do not cause significant difficulties. In the conditional period from 15 to 17, figure skaters show awareness of skating. It is believed that they begin to skate with an understanding of programs, their scores for components grow, and their jumping technique has not yet begun to crumble. This is the time of the absolute peak, during which almost all modern stars have given their best performances. After 17 to 18 years, the career cycle gradually leads the athlete to a decline. The number of clean performances decreases, Ultra SI gradually disappears, but not always, and the main advantage of relatively younger athletes becomes experience and the development of that very awareness, which is followed by an even greater growth of components. It is still possible to beat competitors at their peak, but not on equal terms. Most often you have to wait for mistakes. At each of these stages, athletes have to adapt to changes. There are almost no exceptions. Elizaveta Tuktamasheva, well over 20, jumped triple axels and won a medal at the World Championships, but her absolute uniqueness only emphasizes that the rule is immutable. Ultimately, the same thing awaits everyone in the sport. And how quickly you come to terms with your new body and the current capabilities of your body determines how many years you have left at the top. The men's singles are quite different in this regard. The guys also go through periods of growing up and becoming, but they practically do not have to rebuild figure skating for themselves. The peak of technical complexity for them often coincides with the peak of artistic complexity, so the development is generally more harmonious, and the peak is relatively long-term. In women's single skating, the equivalent of this change in style is overcoming the 17 to 18-year-old Rubicon. After that, the amount of Ultra SI, as practice shows, naturally decreases, but does not disappear completely. Firstly, there is a need to accept reality. The body is aging, and you need to respond adequately to the challenges of the time. And secondly, you need to look for and develop other strengths in yourself. Years of observing figure skating allow us to compare an athlete going through puberty with someone like a person with a midlife crisis. Certain opportunities are missed, the years are starting to take their toll, so you either look for a new challenge for yourself or disappear into this emotional hole. It is almost impossible to get out of it using the methods that worked in previous years. Most likely, a new body simply will not allow you to reskate programs several times a training day and jump on Ultra SI. Instead, quantity can still be compensated by quality because the technique has already been developed, and it only remains to maintain it at a comfortable pace for each athlete. And the global shortfall in technical assessment, in contrast to the younger generation, can in turn be smoothed out by more artistic and conscious skating. It is also called Zrelizensky, as if emphasizing that it is mostly inherent in established figure skaters who have already seen something in their athletic career. A similar, easier approach to puberty is also encouraged by the new age limit. According to it, before the age of 17, a career for figure skaters in principle does not really begin, because before that you can only compete in juniors, where the level of popularity is different and prize money, and everything else in general. Such a bar, on the one hand, should push athletes and coaches to be more tolerant of the inevitable, because the current rules actually give them a little time to rest before going to adults. On the other hand, the long-standing guidelines by which women's single skating has lived still dictate a trend towards transience, according to which you either quickly take everything or fly into the abyss of serious age-related changes, after which the jumps are not the same, and in general everything starts from scratch. And it seems there is no time for this. A recent example is Muravyova. In a conversation with journalists after her short program, she noted that she does not know how much more she needs to train to avoid making such mistakes. It seems that not only Sofia, but almost all women's single skating lives in a similar paradigm, both in Russia and, perhaps, abroad. That if you're growing, you need to train even more and not adapt and adjust. That if the Ultra SI leave, you must certainly crash into them more, and then the clock will go back and you will be 15 again. But reality shows that it does not work like that. Women's single skating must learn to adapt and not break athletes and go against physiology. Then and only then will new Tuktamashevas, Anna Frolovas, Ksenia Sinitsins, and Carolina Kostners appear. Then and only then will raising the age limit turn from a momentary, careless, and even somewhat barbaric step into something that will truly change figure skating for the better, or at least not harm it. But for this to happen, fundamental changes must occur in the philosophy of this sport itself. And there is a feeling that this process will be long and extremely painful.